The conscious can get confused and think their job is to direct, to lead, to show the unconscious. No. The job of the conscious is to make the unconscious conscious. This point must be properly underlined. The job of the conscious is to make the unconscious conscious. Not to teach them and have them look up to you as this great man and woman who knows so much, but to show them you can know exactly what I know and you should know more thanks to work I've done for you. The job of the conscious then is clear. The conscious is never arrogant, but very humble. Even earlier at the restaurant I was saying, I've learned to be humble. This is the truth. I have learned from people that when you look at them, I know they couldn't teach nobody nothing, and they're the ones who teach me the most. I give just one example, though I have thousands. I remember once as a young man, I must have been about 15 or 16, I grew my political tooth at 125th Street on the corner there in Harlem at the Michaud bookstore. All the speakers used to come, even Malcolm, everybody. I was just swallowing up their words. Now, I've learned my speaking in my early years from two sources, the Harlem street ladder speaker and the Delta preacher in the South. Now, both of them got to work hard. I as a young man in the mid-50s, would go to Harlem and listen to these brothers and sisters. Queen Mother Moore used to be there too. May Mallory was there. Oh yeah, the sisters always up front. And I listened to them talk about Africa. Of course, in Harlem, how people are most undisciplined people. And at that time, they hear anything about Africa, they want to cuss. But these street ladder speakers had to be so sharp that they could counteract it and not allow hostility to grow. They had to be very, very good. Delta preacher, that was clear for him. Those Africans in the Delta were picking cotton from sunup to sundown, Monday through Friday, Saturday morning too. Saturday nights, they got to get to the juke joints, and Sunday morning tired, they come to church. That preacher got to wake them up and make him give him some money. He got to wake him up and give him some money, and he sure enough gonna wake him up. Ain't nobody gonna sleep in his church. That's for sure. So these were two strengths, but I want to take you back to one in Harlem. I remember I must have been about 15 or 16, and I was attending the Bronx High School of Science. So I met this brother, and he was there too. He was listening, and he attended Stuyvesant, another school there. So we had this little thing, and we were talking about the Pythagorean theory. I never forget it. And we were waiting for the meeting to start. And this old man, very disheveled, hair up there, looking dirty, but had a book in his belt that said Moses, the story of Moses and the Moses of his people, a story about Garvey by a white man. I forgot the title of the book, but something about the Moses of his people. I knew the book. And the man came around and said, "What y'all talking about?" We waited for the meeting to start. I said, "Sir, we're speaking about the Pythagorean theory." He said, "There ain't no such thing." He went away, We kept on talking. He was circling. He came back again. He said, "What you all talking about?" So I said, "Sir, we explained to you we're talking about the Pythagorean theory." He said, "But I told you ain't no such thing." He walked away again. We said, "Wait a minute." He came back the third time. He said, "Now, young boys, what you all talking about?" I said, "Sir, we're speaking about Pythagorean theory. Don't you know about Pythagorean theory? It's a mathematical theory that shows 45-degree angle." He said, "Have you ever seen the Pythagorean theory exist anywhere except in the pyramids?" So, "Did you not know that Pythagoras studied in Africa for over 13 years? He said, "Here's the books." He gave us a list of books, He said, "Y'all just think that white people did everything, but they can't do nothing, So the brother said to me, "Well, some of us just go too far. We think that, we just did everything." But I copied down the books. And I went to the library the next day. And those books were Greek sources, no other source except the Greeks themselves. And when I read the books that he documented, I went and tried and find that old man. All right. And so when you're conscious, you never underestimate any other human being, because the one you think who can't teach you nothing is the one who's going to teach you something that you'll never forget. I just want to pass on one other story to you about Harlem, and this shows you the wit of our people. We're just so fantastic people. I remember once in the springtime, it just broke spring. It was a cold winter in the 50s. And by that time, brothers used to conk their hair. Yeah, and then they didn't conquer it alone, but if they had a brown Cadillac, they have a brown conch with brown shirt, brown tie, brown jacket, brown shoes, brown socks, brown underwear, and brown hog, you know. If it was gray, they'd have their hair dyed gray. So it was, you know, when the weather breaks, we all break outside coming out in the winter. And it was a Friday afternoon in Harlem. Spring had just broken. This brother came out of the do-rag with his hair just done up and his jacket over his shoulder, Jackie Wilson style, and just walking. The brother's talking about Africa. And he got, oh, Africa, what can she do? She can't make matches. Blah, blah, blah. To the rest of us who were young, you know, you say something against Africa, you know, so we started to change our expression. The brother topped the ladder and said, pay no attention to the brother. When he said that, the brother really went mad. Yeah, pay no attention to me. We're talking about Africa. What can Africa do? Blah, blah, blah. I mean, he even started to cuss out Africa. Now, we start to grumble now. The brother said, I told you all, pay no attention to him. You know, the brother said, that's right, pay no attention to me. Look at these fools talking about Africa. If they were told to go right now, they'd be the first ones to run away. And he just started to cuss out Africa. This time, it really got unbearable, so we started to pull up our pants. You know, going to fisticuff with this brother now, because that's the only way he understands something. The brother said on the ladder, he said, I told you all to leave this brother alone. Y'all look at him carefully. Look at his hair. His hair go home before he does. It's true. He said, and when he goes home, he'll be going back to get a conch again instead of going home. So these aspects of the conscious, being able to handle the unconscious is necessary. You don't want to create antagonisms between the conscious and the unconscious. That's what the enemy wants. I see this all the time. When we come to correct a brother and sister, instead of looking at the enemy who caused the problems, we look at the brother or the sister as if they're the problems. Even when they come to talk about our youth in schools, do they look at the schools, look at the system, look at what they do to the children, and tell the children they need to fight the schools? No, they tell the children, you need to study. The problem is all your problem. And not only that, after that, they're going to blame the parents. If the child is not acting right, it's because they don't have any training at home. Everything is us. All the problems of the victim is always put on the victim by the oppressor. You're a clown if you put problems on yourself. I say all our problems start with the oppressor. Brother told to me, you say all the problems is capitalism. For you, all the problems is the white man. We don't do anything. I said, that's right. Until you have the power to address your problems, you can't address your problems. And you will not have power to address your problems until you knock down the external force that's stealing your power from you. Therefore, the first fight is against the external enemy. That's clear. The conscious must lead themselves through example themselves. The conscious must every day try to be a better example than they are today. That means the conscious seeks again to perfect themselves. And the conscious knows from the very beginning that by themselves ain't nothing they can do. I remember some years ago, I always got a lot of trouble to get into prisons. They never let me in. And there's a prison in D.C., Lawton Prison, which I know very well. Even as a student, I did a course there. But they wouldn't let me in. When Marion Barry came back the second time around, we had a meeting. He said, listen, man, I want you to go down to Lawton. I said, they don't let me in. He said, well, I'm not mayor for nothing. So the mayor sent me to Lawton. So when I went there, they brought a group of about 500 brothers. I mean, I looked around. I saw my army before me. You understand? I looked at them. And I looked at them. I said, you know, you're all stupid. They said, well, I said, you're all stupid. I said, how many of you all in here for alleged armed robbery? Raise your hands. About 70% of them raised their hands. I turned around and I said, how many of you did it with somebody else? Keep your hands up. Every hand went down. I laughed at them. See how stupid you are? All you're doing armed robbery, you can't even get another person to watch your back while you do it. I said, look, you got 70. If you're well organized, you 70, break yourself up into groups of 5. You decide to hit every bank in D.C. Somebody gonna get away. Somebody gonna get away. I told him, look how stupid you are. You go to fight capitalism by yourself. Ain't nobody covering your back. And when you get arrested, you don't know what to do. I said, me, I've been in jail just like you. But every time I get arrested, I ain't got nothing to worry about. I make one phone call. I call the organization I'm working for. My job is over after that. That's all I do. I've been in jail many times. When I get to jail, my only problem is to let my organization know that I'm in jail. That's all. After that, I'm in jail. I'm doing my work in jail. But I know my organization on the outside is fighting to get me out of jail. When I come up there, I don't even know who my lawyer is. The organization sends me a lawyer. I told him, you got to beg the state for a lawyer. You got to beg the very state who's going to try you to send you a lawyer. I said, I don't even know who he is, but my organization sent him. They sent him. I said, I don't know what my bills are. I don't know nothing. The organization takes care of that. If you want to fight against the enemy, you got to have an organization to fight the enemy. You can never do it alone. History lessons must be properly learned, properly appreciated. Everywhere the enemy is trying to divide us, divide organizations. I hear people saying all the time, oh, you know the truth, Kwame Ture. You know the truth. You know Malcolm X was killed by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I laugh. I really laugh because I know where the line comes from. The line comes from the police, of course. The movie picks up the line of the police, that's clear. That's why it's a movie. They run the line of the police. They had one where the line of the police is that drugs destroyed the Black Panther Party, not the police. Drugs destroyed Huey Newton, not the police. By the time you get through with it, drugs destroyed us. Well, drugs have been in our community for a long time. We can handle drugs better than any other community in this country. You understand? Huey Newton wasn't killed by drugs. The police killed Huey Newton. The Black Panther Party wasn't destroyed by drugs. The police and COINTELPRO destroyed the Black Panther Party. Yeah. Malcolm X was not killed by the Honorable Elijah. The New York police, the FBI, and the CIA killed Malcolm X. See, the conscious knows this because the conscious properly analyzes. They don't go with sound bites. I remember Malcolm X. I followed Malcolm X. I'll tell you brutally, I'll tell you the brutal truth. When Malcolm X quit the Nation of Islam, I said to all my comrades, I said, look at it, it's going to go down now. Malcolm going to split it. I was certain that people would leave the Nation of Islam. I knew for certain Muhammad Ali would leave. I knew for certain Minister Louis Farrakhan would leave. Malcolm's brother didn't leave. Malcolm left by his lone son. These are facts. He was no threat at all to the Nation of Islam, and nobody would know that better than the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Anyone knows, even from looking at stupid television, that when you want to analyze a murder, you got to get a motive.
All right. There you go.
What would be the motive for the Honorable Elijah to kill Malcolm X when Malcolm X represented no threat to him at all? None whatsoever. Malcolm didn't take anybody with him. The nation kept galloping along. Malcolm had to gather his forces himself and try and create his organizations. No, I said even his brothers didn't leave. The people who recruited Malcolm didn't leave. When Malcolm walked, he walked by himself. I was shocked. I was certain it was going to split. It didn't split. I said, well, Malcolm has made an error here. His calculations were not properly correct because it didn't split the nation. Malcolm himself had even stopped talking badly about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. As a matter of fact, when he came back with the United Front as his program, he said publicly, I've insulted and said bad things about every leader. They too have said bad things about me. I want to stop this. I hope they've forgotten and forgiven me. I've forgotten and forgiven them. There's Malcolm's statement. Therefore, by the time Malcolm was killed, there was no reason for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad to kill him, simply because the truth is the Honorable Elijah Muhammad knew the devil was going to kill Malcolm. I saw it then, too, as a young man. All my life, I've been in an organization, all my life. I've never in my conscious life been without organization, never. I worked with the Student Nonviolent Coordinating. I gave my life to that organization. When they got ready to expel me, before they expelled me, I was the honorary prime minister of the Black Panther Party. By the time they expelled me, I was sitting on top of the Black Panther Party, told a white man, touch me now, if you bad. Because the major trick of the enemy is to isolate the conscious from organization. Once you're isolated from organization, you're finished. That's how they got Malcolm. I saw exactly when they got Malcolm. Malcolm was building 2 organizations when they got him. He had no organization. I learned my lessons clearly from the assassination of Malcolm X. When he left the Nation of Islam, he created 2 organizations. One, the Muslim Mosque Incorporated, which was a religious organization to which anybody could belong, irrespective of race. The second one was a political organization, the Organization of African American Unity, to which only Africans could belong. So when they talk this nonsense about Malcolm X changed after he went back to Mecca, you have to see clearly how he changed. His political position on nationalism never budged 1 inch. Only Africans could belong to the political organization. This did not change at all. The religion he changed. It's a religion, it's universal, so if whites want to come, they can come. But Malcolm was building these 2 organizations, and it's in the act of building it that the CIA got him. The conscious cannot ever be outside of organization. I knew that my sojourn with the Black Panther Party could not last long. I knew that because the Black Panther Party did not have serious leadership and didn't understand the task that befell them. Their serious leadership was best personified by Huey Newton, but once in jail, that was it. Oh, if I were to tell you some of the true stories about the Black Panther Party, you'd be amazed. I remember once I tried to get a program of political education. We were at the Central Committee meeting, and I said, well, we need to get some political education. I won't say his name, but he said, you know Kwame Ture? He ain't nothing but bourgeois. He went to college and all that. I said, that's right, Jack. I went to college. I was a philosophy student, and I was honor roll student. That's right. And I'm honor roll student for my people. I said, I don't know what you is, but everything I got for my people, I'm going to learn as much as I can for my people. And I'm telling you, if you got an army out here, they need to be politically educated, especially if they come from the lumpen proletariat. Because they waver too much between the people and the police. The Nation of Islam recruits from the lumpen proletariat, but they have a program of transformation for those brothers and sisters. Yeah, of course it works. The Panthers said they didn't need it. They're going to fight the people. I tried everything possible. No, wait. All right. I saw that it wouldn't do any good. So I knew that I got to lead them. Because they think they're running a gang. You understand? And a revolutionary party is not a gang. In a gang, the leader says, do this, and everybody jumps. In a revolutionary party, the people says, do this, and the leader jumps. So there's a big difference between the two. I knew that my sojourn couldn't last, but before I resigned from the Black Panther Party, I was already a member of the All-African People's Revolutionary Party. I have never been without an organization in my life. And I never will be without an organization in my life. All I want is to bring down the enemies of my people, and if I had the strength of Samson, I would shake America, even if it came down on top of me, and be proud of it. But unfortunately, as I even have to tell Minister Louis Farrakhan, I wasn't called. God didn't call me. He called Samson, he called you, he called Jesse, but he didn't call me. I comes on my own. So I'm not God's anointed. I can't do nothing special. You understand? Matter of fact, God himself promised me he won't protect me. Only my people can do that. God gave me them. So I'm not God's anointed. I don't have the strength. So I know since I'm not God's anointed, I can't face the enemy by myself. I can't even think of that. I got to face the enemy with the people. Therefore, I know I can't do nothing against the enemy by myself. Why, if I could do it by myself, I'd have done it a long time ago. It's only the people consciously organized that will not only bring the enemy down, but lay the foundations for indestructible organizations. All right. I I am a Central Committee member of the All African People's Revolutionary Party, and at the same time, a Central Committee member of the Democratic Party of Guinea of the African Democratic Revolution. For me, it's a great honor. A great, great honor. It shows clearly the integration of Pan-Africanism by those who pay no attention to our history. People think, that the conscious have been sleeping because they look at the unconscious and they judge the movement by the unconscious, but the movement has to be judged by the conscious, not the unconscious, even though the unconscious overwhelms just in numbers alone the conscious. The other day, about 4 weeks ago, about a month or so ago, I heard a discussion about something called Ebonics. A lot of people started to talk nonsense about it, but the sister who's doing the work is a sister by the name of Mary Hoover. In 1967, she started a school called the Nairobi School in East Palo Alto, California. And since then, she's been heavy into working with the people on this thing they call Ebonics. Therefore, when they jumped up, they thought, once again, they don't know what they're talking about. But they had to shut up. They ain't seen nothing yet. The serious conscious have been developing themselves since the 60s. And now when the mass movement breaks out in the 90s, they'll be able to give proper direction, proper leadership, and proper guidance to the mass movement. This is something that was totally lacking in the 1960s. Totally lacking. In the 1960s, we had no seasoned cadre. In the 1960s, we had to find a way ourselves. But today, you have conscious elements throughout this country who, thanks to the work from my people, I know and I see them, and they're growing stronger, though quiet. The difference, then, that we must point out here is a difference between revolutionary and reformist. In the American capitalist system, reformists need the press. And the press need the reformists. Of course they do. Revolutionaries don't need the press. The press hates them. And therefore, whenever revolutionaries come in contact with the press, it's a struggle to fight with the press to dominate the press. But revolutionaries don't need the press. Revolutionaries know what they need is the people. So revolutionaries take their time going to the people, not to the press. The press cannot get you the people. All the press can do is give sound bites to you to the people. And if you want to organize the people, they will not be organized around sound bites, only around clear political program and ideology. So the conscious doesn't run to the press. Some reformists think that without the press they can't do it. This is one of the arguments that SNCC had with SCLC and that I had with the Black Panther Party. The Black Panther Party, we need the press. What you need the press for? They're always talking bad about you. Well, we need the press would be, no, the people not going to know about you from the press. The people going to know about you from your work with the people. It's your work with the people that makes you know them. If all the time they see you on television, they don't know you. They don't know you. They only know you when you're working with them. So if you're revolutionary, you don't look for the press, you look for the people. And the conscious elements since the 60s have not been looking for the press. They've been looking for the people to develop themselves, and they have been developing. All right, it's late. We don't want to keep you all night. We just want to give you one example of serious work.
All right, go ahead.
If you will look properly at all our organizations throughout the country, you will find that the enemy has made one great blow against us on two levels: coordinated work and recruitment to make our organizations grow. If you examine very carefully our organizations in this country, you will see these are the two blocking stumps that we've not been able to overcome since the 60s. While people speak a lot about COINTELPRO, and they speak about COINTELPRO destroying this organization, that organization, one of the greatest damages that COINTELPRO inflicted upon us was that it broke down completely the coordination between organizations. And after breaking it down, they made sure it wouldn't come together by having FBI informers inside the organizations make it difficult for them to meet. I remember the trouble we had. We go to socialist organizations. Look here, we're socialists, you know. No, you ain't. You're talking about Africa. Yeah, I know I'm talking about Africa. I'm socialist. Let's work on a socialist program. No, we can't work with him. He's chauvinist. He's narrow nationalist. He's talking about Africa. I said, I understand all that. But look here, I ain't got no power to whoop you all. It's the capitalists that got power to whip you all. Don't fight me. Fight the capitalists. But you know, some people can be so confused that they don't know what they're fighting for. I remember as a young man, I was living in an Italian neighborhood in the Bronx. And one night, I was going to my house there, and an Italian comrade there saw me. He wanted to fight, you know. So it was late at night. There was nobody there. He said, I'm going to whoop you. You know, throw up his hands. I saw nobody. I knew I could outrun him. I outran him. You know, I ain't going to fight him. You know, what's that about, you know? 3 days later, he sees me in the schoolyard in front of everybody. Now I got to fight him, so I whoop him. You know, he misunderstood the night of the fight. I don't fight for nothing, even when I was a kid. I'm a revolutionary. If you ain't got no power, I ain't fighting you. Even if you want to fight me, I ain't going to fight you. Because when I finish whooping you, I got to get something. And if you ain't got no power, I whip you. I don't whoop you for nothing and go around and say, I whooped him, I whooped him. No, when I whoop you, I get power. If you ain't got no power, I ain't even thinking about you. I fight only those who got power. Because I want power. So when I fight you, I whoop you, the power comes to me. But if you ain't got no power, I fight you. Oh, I whooped him. You should have been there. I whooped him. No, I ain't going for that. Even boxers don't get in the ring for nothing. No. So the conscious must know who they are fighting. They're not fighting those who don't have power. They're not fighting the unconscious. Not only the unconscious don't have power, they're not even fighting for power. You want to fight the ones who got the power. You got to, sure enough, fight the powers that be, not the victims of the powers that be. This aspect of understanding properly power and fighting for it is clear. We said the two of the major blows they've hit us is they've broken down coordination and they've come to destroy organizations. But for us, the most important one is the destroying of coordination among the organizations. The All African People's Revolutionary Party gave me an assignment in 1969 to form an African United Front in this country. The party has put all the resources of the party at the tips of those involved in this campaign. I was asked to head it up. I want to report to you that faithfully since 1969, I've been working on African United Front. And I want to tell you, every time I get it together in place, the Zionists destroy it. I'm telling you exactly what I'm talking about. The first one we got together was in 1972. Everybody was there. At that time, Roy Wilkins was alive. Whitney Young was alive. All of them. Farrakhan was coming representing the Nation of Islam. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad was alive. Abernathy was alive, coming to represent SCLC. King, of course, had been assassinated. We had everything in mind. The Zionists pulled a fast one, very fast one. Unfortunately, they tricked us, you know, and their tricking us had nothing to do with the response we didn't think we would get from the people calling the meeting. But because of that, they just canceled everything. I mean, with vicious letters, and the Zionists just created confusion among us. We struggled and struggled and struggled. We are revolutionaries. We want to tell you, we don't want an easy struggle. We are revolutionaries. Anytime there's an easy struggle, we say, leave that for the kids. We want difficult struggle. Matter of fact, we know that if you're a slave and you want to be free, you can't look for the easy road. You'll never get out of slavery. If you're a slave, you want to be free, you got to look for the roughest road, because once you take that road, nobody going to bring you back to slavery alive again. We're revolutionaries. We look for the difficult. We know it's only with the difficult that you learn, not with the easy. If you know 2 + 2 is 4 and you sing that all day, you'll never know 4 + 4 is 8. It's only when you struggle with 4 + 4 is 8 that you will get to 8 + 8 = 16. Therefore, we who are conscious, we look for struggle. We're not afraid of it. We are welcome when we see it. Therefore, this aspect of constant struggle, looking for difficult struggle, is the issue. To organize the masses of our people is a difficult task. To mobilize them is easy. That's why so many people slip into mobilizing the people. But to organize them, that's difficult. But we're revolutionaries. With honor, we've taken this responsibility upon our shoulders. We continue to struggle for it. Minister Louis Farrakhan is our living witness. Johnny Jacobs of the Urban League is a living witness. I'd known Johnny Jacobs before. I kept finding a way to get a place inside the Urban League just to be able to talk to him like I wanted. After much struggle and much planning, we were able to do it. When I met him, I said to him, you know, it's a shame that we have all these leaders around talking and we don't know each other. I said, for example, you've never met Farrakhan. He said, no, well, Farrakhan wanted to meet me. I said, of course he wants to meet you. He said, I didn't think that, so he wants to meet you. Immediately, I ran to Chicago. I said, hey, come on, let's go, get up. You're going to go meet Johnny Jacobs. I'm going to meet Johnny Jacobs. I said, yeah, go meet him. He said, he wants to meet me. Yeah, he wants to meet you. Let's go. I took Minister Farrakhan to New York. We went into the office of Urban League. He met Johnny Jacobs. He sat down. They both issued a call for a united front. Listen, I was as happy as, I was happy as I can be. And I went to Africa. My work was finished here for the moment. I had nothing to worry about. Well, when I was in Africa, I heard that Jesse Jackson was going to run for president. I said, okay, we leave that one alone. But then later I heard that Farrakhan wanted to hook up with him. You understand? Now, I've known Minister Farrakhan for over 30 years. And I mean, I know Minister Farrakhan. In over 30 years, we've had together hundreds of meetings all over the world. In Libya, in Uganda, all over the world. You know, everywhere in America we have meetings all the time. We talk on the telephone all the time. And I told him that I thought it was a mistake. Of course, he didn't agree with it. I told him I think it's a mistake because I know Minister Louis Farrakhan, the strength of Zionism in this country. And I know what you may not know or may have forgotten. I know that they know the All-African People's Revolutionary Party will never give them any slack. We'll be on them until death. But they know that the first organization to wake up anti-Zionism among the Africans here was the Nation of Islam. I reminded him that I read of the nation of Zionism. The only paper I could read about it was in the Nation of Islam. None of the left-wing communist parties was talking about the Palestinian struggle. Only the Nation of Islam in Mohammed Speaks spoke about it. I remember 1964 when the PLO was formed. I have a picture of Malcolm X in Mohammed Speaks shaking the hand of the PLO representative. They announced it in the paper, the formation of the Palestine Liberation Organization. I reminded him of all this. I said, so if you think those Zionists want me, which they do, let me tell you something about them. They're scientific, and they want you too. Because if they will go to Argentina after 30 years and hunt down somebody, you know they ain't going to forget you because you're still young. You ain't even old. They usually wait till you're old and crippled before they go get you. But you're young, so they're coming for you. Well, needless to say, what happened? The Zionist press blew up a statement about gutter or dirty religion, poof, splitting everything down the middle. By the time I came back here from Africa, Farrakhan was at Jesse's throat. Johnny Jacobs wasn't talking to Farrakhan. He'd already attacked him. I mean, those Zionists give me trouble. You understand? It took me 2 years of patient work just to get them together to shake hands again. I mean, serious work. And I'd tell you something, I hate cold weather with a passion. And I had to get up and go to Chicago one morning at 7 o'clock in February to get Farrakhan and Jesse to come back, sit down, and bury the hatchet. I had harder work with Johnny Jacobs, but finally I got it together again. By that time, of course, more problems. We've continued on this African United Front. The reason we continue on is because we want the masses of our people organized. And we know no organization in this country by themselves, not the Nation of Islam as strong as they are, not the NAACP as well established as they are, not the Urban League by itself can move our people towards organization. Only all of the organizations together, pushing constantly the propaganda among the masses of our people that they must belong to an organization will break the stranglehold that the enemy has upon us in making our people unconscious and spontaneous rather than conscious and planned. Speak to Brother Alton. Speak to him. Every time I speak to him, since I've known him, tell him what I talked to him about. African United Front. Ask Jesse Jackson. Every time I call him on the telephone, what do I talk to him about? African United Front. Ask Minister Louis Farrakhan. Matter of fact, they tell me, you sound like a broken record. I'm going to sound like anything till I get my people to the point they got to get at. We got to be organized. Can you imagine what will happen when each and every one of us belong to a political organization fighting for the people? Can you imagine that? That when you go to identify yourself, you identify yourself by the organization you belong to fighting for the people. Yeah, brother, I'm with UAM. What about you? Yeah, brother, I'm with NOI. What about you? Yes, sister, I'm with the APRP. What you doing? Yeah, well, I belong to NAPO. Well, I'm with RNA. Unless we identify ourselves by the political organizations to which we attach ourselves, we remain unconscious, and at this advanced stage of our struggle, even a danger to the people. A real danger to the people, because you help give this nonsense about Rambo, about the individual being able to do everything, about Superman and Bionic Man and this one and that one, who by themselves do so much. This is nothing but lies and filth from a capitalist system. An individual can do nothing by themselves. They need the people for everything, and especially for freedom. Especially for freedom. The All-African People's Revolutionary Party will not rest until we get an African united front in this country. Last year we picked up our work again. The first thing I did when I got out of the hospital was to go work on the African United Front. Sabotage once again, sabotage here, refusal of those who have power, who have responsibility to live up to their responsibility to organize the people, hits us left and right. But we are undeterred. We know, as we said in the very beginning, that our people are going to win this struggle. We ain't thinking they're going to win. We know they're going to win. Therefore, we know that in spite of the people, we're going to win our struggle. You must understand me properly. You must understand me properly. Our culture is so strong and so dynamic that in spite of us, we're going to win. I mean that in every sense of the word. As a matter of fact, our history has already been consecrated by the blood we have already shed. There's no question here that we're going to be free. Ain't no question about it. You must understand the force of freedom. Let me give you an example of the unconscious. I will give you a clear and truthful example. When was the Rodney Rebellion? In 92? 92. In April, I was in Libya. In February of 1992, our party had a meeting with the Crips and the Bloods and all the gang leadership in California. We do this all the time. I've been doing this from the time our 60s. Our first work actually started with the Blackstone Rangers and what was the other one? And Blackstone Rangers, there was another one they were fighting with. Huh? They decided, yeah. And they were fighting all the time. And we went and started from the 1960s working with them. Of course, around we worked with them. So in February of 1992, we met with them a whole day. A whole day. Closed up the doors, let's get down. And I made some remarks there. One of them I said was, I was Prime Minister of the Black Panther Party. And I knew this is a fact now, I knew when I got in the Black Panther Party that the FBI would get my head inside the party. Of course, to attack me from the outside would have caused too many problems. But see, I've been studying all my life. And I remember as a young man reading a book on Stalin. You understand? Like, people talk about him but don't read him. And Stalin was recruited in a monastery. He was studying to be a monk when he was recruited in the Communist Party in Russia, in the Bolshevik Party. And he worked in the monastery undercover to go ahead and, take care of business. And when it came time for them to rob banks, because when the time comes for money, you rob banks. That's what you do. There's no revolutionary movement that didn't rob banks. I ain't worried about it. That's a fact. They rob banks. That's how they get their money. So when it came time to rob banks, all the other leaders up in the Bolshevik Party, the Communist Party, were petty bourgeois. They didn't know how to deal with the lumpen proletariat, who would have to rob the banks for them. But since Stalin was a priest dealing in a community, they gave Stalin a job. And Stalin took the opportunity to sit on the guns in the organization. That's where he got his power from. So I learned then, as a young and tender age, that where there are guns in an organization, you must sit on the guns. So when I came in the Black Panther Party, they talk all the nonsense they want to talk. I want to see who were the field marshals, because they control the guns. And how am I going to sit on top of them? And make sure I got the guns under control so the police won't be able to shoot me from the inside. And the two field marshals was one, a brother named Sekou Neblet, who was from the East Coast, and he came out of Snake with us, so that was no problem. The other one on the West Coast was a brother named DC. I didn't know him. And when I was going out to the West Coast to stay with the Panthers, I'd given all the research I could on DC, because that's my major problem. I'm going out there for one reason, for DC. They talking all this other stuff. When I gets out to California, Eldridge Cleaver informs me, well, we're going to put you with a brother. I said, all right, no difference wherever you put me. He said, his brother's called DC. I could have jumped for joy. So I stayed with DC. By the time I was finished with DC, I knew how many guns was in the Panthers, where the guns were coming from, but I knew everything I needed to know about the guns. And I sat on the guns. So as Prime Minister of the Black Panther Party, I'm sure inside the Black Panther Party, not even Eldridge Cleaver or Bobby Seale, but only our group and the FBI knew how many guns were inside the Black Panther Party. So I said to the Crips and Guns, I said, listen, I was there with my job, and my job was to get guns for the party, and we couldn't get the guns you get. You got Uzi submachine guns, you got this, you got, where you get them from? It's the police. It's the police. We know it's the police giving you the guns. You know, you can't get them like that. How you going to get Uzi submachine guns of kids? The police giving it to them. We knew that. We knew the CIA was destabilizing the community. We understood that. That's what they do all over the world. Now they were doing it inside. And the way to do it is through drugs and violence. That's their formula all over the world. They don't even change. They keep to their old tricks. They can't learn new tricks. So we told them, well, look here. Anyway, this man Rodney, he's going to be set free. And when he's free, y'all going to have to respond. I said, so listen, y'all got to do some planning. Y'all need some Molotov cocktails. You need some long rifles. You need some tires. The same thing I just told you, some tires, little stuff. You know what they told me? At the end of the whole day, Brother Kwame, we sure glad you came, spent time with us, because, people like you don't come see people like us, and we appreciate what you said, but we think you live in a little bit in the 60s. I said, oh, yeah? Yeah, ain't going to be no stuff like that. But when Rodney's policemen were freed, they didn't even wait till nighttime. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, they all hit the streets. Right. So those who didn't plan to fight had to fight. Right. That's what you must learn. Whether we want to or not, we got to fight. Right. And since we got to fight, we got to organize the fight. This is a lesson that our people have learned since the 60s. Some actually thought that we're going to get out of this without a fight. They really did. They thought they would do this, but the ones who thought it are the ones who's hollering the loudest today. Those people at Texaco, they don't live like the people. They're the ones hollering. The petty bourgeoisie is hollering. The masses ain't said nothing yet. So if they're hollering, you know what the people going to do when they get up. We got to fight. There's no way out of this. And we got to fight by every means necessary. We got to fight them in the courtroom. We got to fight them in the schoolhouse. We got to fight them with health plans. We got to fight them in the prisons. And the streets is the determining factor of it all. We got to fight them in the streets. These are just facts. And we can't fight them in the streets unorganized. Every one of us who are conscious must decide what trace are we going to leave behind. Every one of us. As someone who's gotten cancer, this lesson comes home quickly. You ain't got but so much more time here. What trace you want to leave? I have never called myself a leader. Never. You're a leader. I ain't no leader. Because I know you cannot be leader of a disorganized people. Minister Louis Farrakhan can be called a leader of the Nation of Islam, which he is. But to say a leader of the people is to make a big mistake. The Nation of Islam is organized. When Farrakhan snaps his hand, the FOI falls in place. That's what a leader is. If you have an unorganized people, you can't be leader. So I've never left a trace of being a leader. I've always left one trace. I am an organizer. Because this is what our people need. They got too many leaders. Man once told me, you know, probably your people they ain't got leaders. I said, you ain't never organized them. Because you bring three together, all of them want to lead. You don't know about these people. They don't need leaders, they need organization. They have too many leaders. Therefore, my trace is one that I want to leave. I want to remember that this brother, in his entire life, took on one task: the organization of the masses of our people. This brother wanted only one thing in life: our people consciously organized in organizations leading to one conscious organization. This brother dedicated his life to only one thing: organizing the masses of our people. This is a trace I want to leave as a conscious brother. I ask my conscious sisters and conscious brothers who sit before me, what trace do you want to leave for your people? You must think seriously about this. This is where the individual is properly separated from the organization. When you die as an individual, everything dies with you. When you die in an organization, the organization continues. We've seen clear examples of this. I am sure at the time of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, there were many brothers and sisters who were individuals. They went around everywhere, raising up the voice, talking and doing all this, blah, blah, blah. But when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad died, he left us the Nation of Islam. And the Nation of Islam, though the police tried to do everything to wreck it, is in the hands of the Minister Louis Farrakhan today and marching on. Without the Nation of Islam, Farrakhan would be absolutely nothing. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad left us an instrument to fight the enemy. Those who are great individuals, knowing so much about our history, coming and giving us great messages, but belong to no organizations, when they die, they will leave us absolutely nothing. Because even the work they give us, we'd be able to get for ourselves. But if they belong to organizations, the work they do would stay in those organizations, and those organizations would continue to function. Brothers and sisters, brothers and sisters, we leave you the same task we left you last year. We will leave it to you every year. We've been working for it for 30 years. You need an African United Front in New York. You must have an African United Front. The history is clear. When you had the Patrice Lumumba Coalition, when you had the December 12th meeting, movement, when you had UAM, when you had Black Mans Against Crack, when you had them together, you could mobilize easily 50,000 people in New York. That's not an easy task in New York City. But once they were split, you can't mobilize any more 50,000 people. Why? Because of this split. Of course, we know the enemy will use any reason to split us. We repeat what we said the last time. We repeat it all the time because Kwame Ture is correct. The job of revolutionaries is to make reactionaries work for the revolution. I'm a revolutionary, 100%. If you tell me that so-and-so is a CIA agent and we can't do nothing with him, I'm going to make this CIA agent work for the people. Oh, we did it. I'll give you one example. In 1972, our party was just struggling along in the United States. By 1973 and 74, our party grew by leaps and bounds. I mean, people were coming in from everywhere. Now, our party is not a party that's attracting the masses at this point. We're attracting only the conscious. You must know what you're doing when you organize. So when all these people came in, we know we didn't recruit them. So when we sat down, we said, they're the police. Simple as that. What are we going to do with them? All right, we got a campaign. The campaign was called Smash the FBI and the CIA. And we had posters, nice big posters. And we gave every chapter in our party the task of blitzing the city in which they live. That when members of our central committee came into that city, they must see these posters everywhere in the city. And we made them put them up. And we told them, this is only step one. After this, we got stepping up our plans against the FBI and the CIA. All of them started to wither away. Just out of the clear blue sky. The job of a revolutionary is to make reactionaries work for the revolution. The enemy doesn't want us to have a united front. The enemy knows a united front is always a precursor of revolution. There's nowhere in the world where revolution was made where a united front didn't precede it. nowhere. As a matter of fact, if you look at the work of the great Kim Il-sung in Korea, the People's Democratic Republic of Korea, what they call North Korea, you will see they even fought the war against the Japanese under a united front. There's nowhere where I've studied revolution where I didn't see a united front before the struggle. The enemy knows once we have a united front in this country, it's step one to irreversibility. We are concluding then. We want you to take the task of the united front seriously. We've told your leader and we'll tell him again, brother, the major task for you in New York City is to get a united front with all of these organizations so that when we face the enemy, we face him as a unified front. The job of creating a united front belongs to you, the conscious. It is you that must put pressure on your own organizations to bring about a united front. You must come to understand the importance of it. Our task as a party is just to let other people see the importance of the front. But so caught up in individualism, everybody thinks their organization is so important that they're going to do. No organization alone can organize the masses of our people. That's clear. Therefore, if you want the people organized, which means you really want the people to have power, then you've got to work for a united front. We are going to conclude. We tell you again the need for organization. We will never stop in this, our task. We want our people organized. You know the difference between a leader of an organized people and a leader of a disorganized people? I once told a man, I said, well, when I become a leader, my people will be so well organized that one day I will call a nonviolent march in front of the White House. And I'll march 1 million people around there nonviolently. And I'll make the demands. And if the demands are not met, the following week I'll send 2 million with arms. That's organization. Then you really have a leader. Our people must be organized. Our people must be organized. Do not rest content when you belong to an organization, but make sure it's your task to organize everybody. Osajifo, Kwame Ture says, we must leave no stone unturned in the organization of the masses of our people. Our people are intelligent people. Our people got talents, like our brother told us. When we put all of this together in an organized form, aiming directly against the enemy, as Africa is my mother's enemy, will fall. And then the task before us must be properly understood. We must build indestructible organizations. We must build indestructible organizations. Every time we get them off the ground, the enemy destroys them. We must come now to lay the foundations for eternal, indestructible organizations. This is our task. We will accomplish our task because we have no choice. We must fight, and we will be forced to be organized in the fight. We must build organizations, and they will be built to be indestructible. Therefore, the next civilization of Africa, unlike the first, will never be destroyed. Thank you. Ready for revolution.
Brother Kwame Ture. Brother Kwame Ture, we must organize. Brother Kwame Ture. Brother Kwame Ture. Thank you very much, Brother Kwame Ture.